All right, halftime, something I want to throttle home. On a day of the government shutdown, Washington gave the Cookie Monster and his friends over at PBS $445 million. But it really didn't pay to keep the World War II Memorial open. In fact, what money it was spending, it was to keep people away from that war memorial. Open air, shrines that you could just walk up to. They were even paying money for cones on the road leading to Mount Rushmore, like almost making it impossible to even see it. That costs a lot of money. Between that and yellow tape, why? Retired Gunnery Sergeant Jessie Jane Duff from Concerned Veterans for America, furious, just furious. Great to have you back on. What do you make of this? Because there's a clear double standard there. I mean, and it's a glaring one.
It's so hypocritical to see that on the backs of our veterans, that we are denying the funding to keep their memorials open. This is our freedom at work right here, and then we shut out freedom. These veterans have served honorably. Many of their friends are dead. And then to discard their service the way they have is just appalling. $445 million down the drain for the Cookie Monster is just appalling to me.
Sergeant, it always comes around to Democrats saying, well, this is what happens when government shut down. Fox News alert, deal with it. It's not pleasant, it's not right, we weren't for it. This is what they say. This is what Republicans have foisted on you, and raise your grief with them. What do you say to that?
Well, the Pay Our Military Act was passed by the House and Senate, and yet they still managed not to pay the death benefits for the people that have died in Afghanistan recently. So now the Fisher House has had to come forward to provide the funding for those death benefits. That was not the intention when they said Pay Our Military Act. It meant all benefits and pay for the military and those who have died on active duty. So I'm appalled that anybody is suggesting that this is appropriate or this is fair when there's a government shutdown. We are out there putting our lives on the line for the freedom that we still enjoy every single day.
There's no doubt about that. And in a government shutdown, there are people who are hit and unfairly hit, and ironically, those who serve our country or have, and some of them want to see a memorial, whether they're aging veterans or folks like you who've just given a lot to the country. But these are the consequences of shutting down a government. Do you think the whole process of shutting down the government, no matter who you blame for shutting down what and prioritizing, one group's grief over another, that there's got to be a better way?
Oh, there absolutely has to be a better way, and that's why we call to the American people to make better choices in their elected officials. Because when we really want to look in the mirror, who elected all of these people in the White House and in Congress and in Senate? We did. We need to take a look at our government and make our choices very seriously, because if we don't like what's going on, we have a responsibility to make that change.
Sergeant, I think of, heroes like you, and I mean, when you jump into a foxhole, you don't take and question the politics of those who are in the foxhole with you. You fight together. But now we have those who are in the same political foxhole who won't talk to one another. And that's why I started this process recently where when either side starts a press conference and begins ripping the other side a new one, I stop it like I would with my kids when they start arguing with each other. I'd love to send all these guys to bed without, I don't know, their favorite pork program, but you can't do that. What is your military type of punishment that you would mete out for those who in Congress or the White House are acting like meatheads?
Well, in the military, this wouldn't be called for. This wouldn't be stood for. We have a lot of ways of rectifying disagreements, and unfortunately, we can't apply that here. But when you have a Congress and a Senate that keeps their gym open and still receives their own pay, they're sending a very poor message to those that have served.
That's a very good point, Sergeant. You were a breath of fresh air. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, remember when Congress hauled